I just have to cuss. I was sitting at my desk waiting for the bell to ring for next period when Liz came storming in. "Arr!" she grumbled as she stomped around the classroom. The school is a residential treatment center for emotionally disturbed teenage girls. It was the third year of my first teaching job. However, I was not a youngster. I went to college as an adult and graduated when I was 48 years old. I raised two children while being a single mother. Angry teenagers were nothing new to me. "Liz, what's wrong?" I asked. I just have to cuss. Really, really, really have to cuss. By this time, the other girls had entered the classroom and were staring, wondering what was going on. Only 2 of my 10 girls were ignoring the drama and getting out their notebooks to start the drill. I could tell I wasn't going to get anywhere with Liz, a smart, usually pleasant, engaged student. She really did need to vent. "Okay, here's the deal," I said in an even tone. "I'll give you 30 seconds to cuss, but at the end of the 30 seconds, you have to settle down and get to work. If you can't, then I'll have to send you to the timeout room. Would that work for you?" "Oh, Mrs. Miller, I promise. I'll stop when you tell me. I really, really promise." "Okay, but there's one more thing. This stays in this room. If administration finds out about it, I'll be fired, and I like working here." "I won't tell, I promise," Liz said, pleading. "Yes, well, that goes for the rest of you too," I said, looking at each student in turn. "Ooh, Mrs. Miller, can I cuss too? I've been having a really bad day," said Aisha. Without bothering to correct her grandma, I said, "Okay, if you need to cuss, you can cuss too, but just 30 seconds, you hear?" Other girls chimed in. "Can I cuss too? Oh, me too. I need to cuss." I had opened Pandora's box. They all promised and swore to God and crossed their hearts and hoped to die that they wouldn't tell anyone outside of our room. I was taking a chance, but somehow I knew it would be fine. "Okay, 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go." "Oh man, I hate this." I I hate these effing teachers, Liz started. "I hate taking shit off of anyone, and here I am bound and scraping in a effing prisoner, which I am." I had a hard time hearing this trash emoting from her beautiful mouth. That 30 seconds seemed like an eternity. Plus, the others carried on with similar diatribes. I was starting to be sorry I had made this decision. Amazingly, 2 girls sat entirely the whole time doing their drill, and Aisha turned to them and said, "Why are you not cussing? Mrs. Miller letting us." And she pointed out, incredulous. "I can't cuss in front of Mrs. Miller," was Shantavia's reply. Julia shook her head in agreement. I smiled to myself, well, that's something. When the 30 seconds was finally up, I called for quiet. They settled down fairly quickly, and I asked, "Is everyone okay? Can we start our lesson now?" I was thinking if Liz couldn't pull it together, I might have to send her to the timeout room anyway. But they all nodded and began their drill, even Liz. The rest of the lesson was wonderful and productive. Who knew? When the bell rang, Liz waited until the others had left and said, "Thank you, Mrs. Miller. It really helped that you understood. I know, Liz, but this is a one-time deal. You need to work with staff to find more appropriate ways to curb your anger. I can teach you one way to do it when we start our writing lesson in a couple of weeks. Are you willing to let me help you?" I could see the tears start to well up in her eyes of this tough young woman who stood at least 3 inches taller than I. She choked out, "Okay." She leaned over to give me a quick hug, which is frowned upon at the school, and made her escape. Note, this happened over 20 years ago, but I'm writing it now because I was having lunch with my twin grandchildren in celebration of their 15th birthday. They were discussing how happy they were that it's summer. Not that they don't like school, but, quote, everyone needs a break. I told them how I understood and how much I needed vacation the same as they did, especially when I was teaching at GSC, because of the difficult lives my students endured. And I told them about the cussing. This led to them telling me this led to my telling them the story of the cussing. God, they were incredulous. No such thing ever happened at Howard High, Danielle said. Grandma, this is the best story ever, Joshua said. Grandma, you should write this story. And so here it is.